literally the most important thing when it comes to gaining muscle mass in the gym, when it comes to making those gains, is something that I feel like I have not done a good enough job of emphasizing to you. It's also something that is very, very hard for me to teach to you. It's something that has to come from within. 85 to 90% of people don't do this correctly. 85 to 90% of the casual gym goers are not training correctly and they're missing out. This is why they don't make significant gains. This is why they stay average. They stay in that noob phase. They don't really excel beyond, baseline gains. When it comes to gaining muscle mass, you can forget everything else if you are not doing this correctly. Guys, the effort and intensity in which you push yourself in the gym is what's going to actually carry your gains. It's what's going to make you create that stimulus of growth. It's what's going to make your body push itself to the limits so that you can experience a significant growth stimulus so that you can become jacked, you can become strong and achieve that physique that you want to achieve. I was just reminded of this recently because out of all of my clients that I've taken on, only the ones who actually do this one correctly are making the significant gains. Whereas the ones who, even though I'm teaching them how to be consistent, I'm teaching them about their diet, I'm teaching them all these other things, lifting technique, form, training smart, training hard. I can teach them whatever I want to teach them. However, if they're not doing this one thing correctly, their progress is significantly hindered compared to someone who understands exactly the amount of energy, the amount of intensity, and the effort level it takes in order to actually see the gains. Guys, everything else, the motivation, the consistency, the diet, the discipline, everything else that we talk about, everything else that people preach in the gym, your form, your technique, your reps, your sets, your volume, all of those things are all background fluff if you don't get this correctly. Your effort and your intensity are the most important things. You got to be training close to failure. You got to be willing to push your limits to the absolute maximum. That's when you're going to make those gains. If you're not pushing yourself to the limit and beyond, there's no way that you're going to create the stimulus that your body is going to say, okay, we need to change something. We need to grow in order so we can adapt to this new thing that's happening. If you just push yourself to the point where you're tired, to like it feels uncomfortable, you only pushed up to that limit. There's no reason for your body to, create a growth stimulus to demand more from the system. It's not warranted. When I go to the gym that I go to and I see the everyday average lifter, they're lifting weights, they're training weights, they're trying to look, they're looking at themselves in the mirror, same as me, but they're just not training with intensity. Like I'm looking at them, they're doing like all these fancy exercises. Sometimes I'm seeing them, they're before me. I know they were there for a long time. They're clearly like sweating, they're working out, and they're there when I'm leaving. I'm only there for an hour, 45 minutes. They're there long periods of time. They're there every day. I can see them in the morning, I can see them in the evening, but they're just not jacked. They're not strong, they're not jacked, they're mid. The reason is they're missing this one element. You gotta really push yourself in order to actually see the gains in the gym. It's the most important thing there is, and it's also the hardest thing to teach. I can't really force you to do it. You gotta find that within yourself. Out of all my clients, the one who's really made the significant progress, the one who's put on 5 pounds in 2 weeks, he understands the importance of sacrifice, the importance of, really committing and going through that pain so that you can see that progress. So for you guys, you really got to find that reason, that sacrifice. Why are you going to do this? What's going to make you push yourself extremely hard? For him, it was God. He realizes that he wants to serve God best. And in order to do that, he needs to pursue sacrifice. He needs to pursue discomfort in order to achieve the best possible physique, to respect himself and his body and to his God. That's very valid. Find your reason of sacrifice, whether that be God, whether that be, yourself, whether that be, your future wife, whatever that may be. Find that sacrifice that's really going to make you dig deep and push yourself to the absolute limit. Compete. I love competing. For me, I love to compete. I hate to see people beat me. And I hate to see people, especially given my background and how my life's panned out. I always think, people who aren't as good as me, who didn't do as much as me, are always reaping more rewards than me. So that makes me really angry. That makes me really competitive. So I compete really hard. I go all out. I'm angry when I train. Compete against a friend, compete against an adversary, compete against, it doesn't have to be someone right in front of you. You can find that drive within yourself, but you got to really find a way to push yourself to the maximum. At the end of your RPE 8 set, or at the end of the set where you took to failure, but you're not exactly sure, were you grunting? Were you really struggling? If you've never made, an audible grunt, an audible noise, I know it sounds cringe, but if you've never done that at the end of a set, then chances are you're probably staying well back of failure. You're not actually pushing your limits. Most of the sets that I do, especially when I'm really struggling, pushing the weight hard, I might even be grunting, for half the set, because that's how hard I'm pushing myself. That's how much intensity I'm going to the gym with. When you do your sets, are you feeling nervous before you go into that set? Are you feeling, like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I'm going to do this weight or not. Like, that's how That's how much you're gonna push yourself. You're not even sure if you're gonna do the weight. Or is it more like, oh, I know, okay, let me just look at my phone for a bit. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone down. Okay, 12 reps, we got this. 1, 2. Like, which one is it? Because if it's there's a massive difference between the first one and the second one. The first one is like the guy's focused, the guy's anxious. You know, he knows it's gonna be hard, but he's really focused. He's concentrated. He knows he's gonna do his best, and it's gonna be really hard, but he's ready to go for that. The second guy, he already knows he got it because that's easy. You shouldn't know that you got that set. If you know that you can easily do it, then it's too easy. Lastly, how spent do you feel at the end of each workout, at the end of each exercise? Do you feel like you completely shut that muscle down? Do you feel like that muscle is totally worked? Or do you feel like, you know, you got a nice pump in, but there wasn't, or are you more the kind of person who feels like, oh, you got a nice pump in and you can do it again tomorrow? You really got to go in with a high amount of intensity. You got to destroy that muscle. You got to go in and push yourself to the limit. Guys, you know, yes, I know technically soreness isn't the best indicator of how hard you worked, but it's pretty damn good. And you should know at the end of the workout, you know, I totally, you know, I left 95% of myself or more out there. You're leaving the gym with less than 5% of your energy. That's how hard you got to be pushing yourself if you really want to see the gains, if you really want to see the growth going forward. Guys, this is one of the things that I really cannot do for you. I really cannot teach for you. You know, I can give you a diet, I can give you a routine, I can give you, you know, I can give you accountability, I can send you messages every day. Did you go to the gym? Whatever. But for this, I cannot do it for you. You gotta find a reason to do it yourself. You gotta dig deep and find that within you to push yourself to the absolute limit. I know it's gonna be hard. I know it sounds really uncomfortable. It doesn't sound fun. But trust me, at the end of your workout, you're gonna be satisfied. And when you see those gains in the long run, you'll know it was worth it. If you're new here, subscribe, stick around for more. I got lots more tips coming your way. Drop the video a like, comment and your thoughts down below. I'll see you guys next time.